Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So today we're here with the Case 450C, and when I bought this dozer, it came with all these filters. So the guy I bought it off of said he was just about to change all the fluids and stuff anyway. So he went ahead and gave me all those filters. So the first thing I had to do was get rid of all the wasps that were on here. And over the last week, I've seen a black snake crawling out of this twice. But first thing I'm gonna do is take all the access covers off, so let's do that. So this cover just comes on with these bolts that use a 3/4 socket. Just remove them. All right, so here's our air filter. These are gonna be our primary fuel filter and secondary fuel filter. Now with it balancing on this bottom bolt, I should be able to lift it out of here. Just let it drop. Okay, so here's our oil filter. And I know we've got one of those. So there's our engine in there. Our fan belt looks like it's in good shape. And I think our alternator is charging and working fine because I haven't had to charge this battery at all and it starts right up. Okay, now that we've got the engine covers off, let's go ahead and open this compartment. Okay, and there's two more filters right here. And I've got the book in there and I know what these are, but let's go ahead and look. Also right here, it's got the master maintenance schedule for a 450C. And inside that door is 33 and 34. And 33 is the hydraulic oil filter, so that's this one. And then 34, which is that one, is the transmission oil filter. Okay, and the dipstick here, according to our chart, is 35, and it is the 35 is the check transmission oil level. So we'll do that as well. We'll try and do as complete a service as we can on this, and then we'll know it's good to go for a long time. So there's nothing on this side. So we've done the complete walk around. The only thing that I didn't show or talk about is this is the final drive oil, and this is the bolt where you fill it and check it, and then the drain bolt is down below there. But what I'm going to do is just make sure that it's got plenty of oil in the final drives. It looks like the right one is leaking, but the left one is the one that does not work. So when I bought this and test drove it around, there's another wasp nest. These things are all over this machinery. Both brakes worked, but after I had it for a few weeks, the right brake quit working. So I'll also look at that, and right after I kill some more wasps. Alrighty, well, as much as I've been dreading it, it's time to climb underneath this machine before the oil cools off enough that we have to warm it up again. Okay, so I'm under here, and I got my bucket, and there is the drain bolt. It's an 11/16 if you go to do this job. Ah! Okay. There we go. So we should have 3 gallons of oil coming out of there. I did not think that was already loose. Go. Yeah, I just didn't want to use an impact gun to put that on. I don't know that it would hurt it, but I sure hate to crack the block or something, put an oil drain bolt in. Okay.
This looks suspiciously like a scene from The Wizard of Oz.
Alrighty, it's actually a couple days later. We had some stuff pop up, and then it's been raining like a monsoon. You can still see some water on the tracks. Let's get this filter changed. And I've got a Wix 51602 filter to put in it. That may not be good. That's not good. Try a different wrench here, see if we can do anything. And try and go up to the top. Oh, it's just denting the heck out of it. There we go. Okay, it wanted to fight, but used a piece of pipe. and we got it off there. Okay. So there's the old one, there's the new one, and they look the same. Put a little used oil from the old filter on the sealing ring of the new one, and then we'll reinstall that. There we go. That should do it. Okay, so the hour meter says 2604, but I don't think that it works. But we'll put it on there. And this is 5 of 24. All right, so this tractor takes 2.8 gallons, so kind of just under 3. And it is out of oil, which it should be since we just drained it all. Okay, so we'll take our clean funnel, and I've got Shell Rotella here, and it's in a 2.5 gallon jug. And because I just changed the oil in my International 1086, I've got a 1/2 gallon left from that oil change. So we'll get this in here. The nice thing, taking almost 3 gallons, I can put this 2.5 gallon jug right in. There's 2.5 gallons. And so this jug has 2 quarts in it. Let's put some of that in there. Then we'll start it and get the level exactly right. Okay, so the stick shows just barely over the full mark, but I know that filter is empty as of yet. So the book, I think it said start it up, let it run for like 5 minutes, shut it off, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and then check it for a final check. So we'll do that. Okay, next we'll do the primary and secondary fuel filter. So here's the fuel tank on this. And here are the shutoffs. So we'll go ahead and shut the fuel off. Now we can take off our fuel filters and we won't lose a bunch of fuel. Okay, I'm going to start by trying to take off the primary fuel filter. Oh, there it went. Oh, that's not good. Didn't want to move the entire freaking block. Let's get and it dented the filter, so let's find a different way to do that. Okay, I think I saw it move, although I've now got this housing sticking way out here. I'm going to figure out what's going on with that anyway. Let's see what I can do. Well, I just punctured the, which I was going to take it off anyway. But that's not what I wanted. In place. Oh man. Not optimal. Not optimal. Okay, so now with 2 sets of hands, I'm going to hold this pipe wrench, which I hate to use on a bulldozer. I'm sure that housing is expensive if I mess it up. But I'm going to hold that, and she's going to push that pipe to loosen this filter, hopefully. Keep going. Yeah, it's crushing it, but keep going.
Oh, okay. I say it don't seem to be doing. Oh, there it goes.
Yep, it's finally moving. Okay, see if you can ratchet it back a little bit. Pull that pipe off, and I'll do it. Okay, I don't know yet. Nope. Okay, put the pipe back on it. Okay, let's make sure y'all can see. This is definitely some hillbilly engineering. Okay, that should be good. Thank you, baby. It's my expert mechanic helper. Thanks, Mags. Okay, so there's one off. And it totally mangled that filter. What a mess. See if I can put this piece back where it goes. I'll have to do some research, figure out why that moves. I wouldn't think that would move, but it certainly did. Okay, let's see if we can get the other one off there with a little less drama. There we go. And that one's going to come off. That's good. Am I recording? Yeah, good. Don't want to give up easy, but there it is. Okay. Pull this filter off. Okay, and looking at all this oil and grime and stuff, I kind of thought that was brake fluid. And I still do, because it ate the paint off that part. So I think I've got, and I know in fact that I've got a brake leak. That right reservoir is empty and the brakes don't work, and they did when I bought it. But a lot of this grime, I think I kind of really wonder if however this joins is leaking, because I just assumed this was one giant piece, but it's not. It's definitely two pieces. Okay, so for these fuel filters, this is the secondary filter, is 33358. So here's a finger tip of fresh clean oil. Put it there around the seal, and then I'll screw this in. I would have written the date and stuff on this filter before I threaded it in, but I figured most likely I won't be able to see, you know, my luck, whatever I wrote on it would be on the very back. So I'll just screw these in and then do it. Put some clean oil around the gasket and thread it on. All right, and I'll write the dates on it. Okay, so there are the two new fuel filters, and I've got the date and the hours that are showing. And I'm gonna probably have to address that hour meter. I don't think it actually works, but it's on there. Okay, we'll turn our fuel lines back on. And that worked really well. I didn't lose any fuel other than what was in the filters. We've got our fuel supply on, we've got our new filters on. Right here, you can see that, is a 10mm bolt. And it's the vent to allow us to fill these filters. And right here, this really greasy, nasty part, that's a handle for the primer pump. So what we're gonna do is open our vent, which is a 10mm. We're just gonna open that a little bit. I think that's enough. And we're going to pump the lever until we get fuel out of that bolt hole. And there's some fuel. Let's try and get a little more. They say you want it to be, once you get fuel without any bubbles. There we go. There's a bunch of bubbles, but it's also a bunch of fuel. So we're definitely getting there. Okay, so that's snugged up. Now then, part two is to get all of the air out of the injector pump, which is over here. So this one, there's a little bitty 8mm bolt right there. And same thing, we're gonna loosen that up. See if we can, there we go, open that one up. There we go, and same thing, we're gonna pump our primer pump till we get fuel and no bubbles out of that. There we go. Okay, so hopefully now, put our pump back up to the top is the transport or whatever, you know, non-used position. So now we should have our fuel system primed. So the next thing we'll do is go here to the air filter and get it changed out. We're gonna die across that, clean those threads up before I put this back. So yeah, them threads are not good. Okay, so and here's our filter, at least the outer one, and it doesn't say, it doesn't have a date or anything on it. Quite a bit of dust in there, and I have not used this in the dust yet. Everything I've done so far has been kind of muddy. Okay, pull this out. Okay, so some rust stains, and the filter doesn't look too bad. There's some dust in it. Let's go ahead and get the inner filter out also, because I'm going to change both of them. Yeah, the inner filter actually looks a little dirtier than the outer filter did. And that's understandable if they only change the outer, which sometimes people do. There we go. So there's a lot of dirt in that, so we'll go ahead and get that changed out. Let's look inside the air box. Okay, so there's our little drain valve. Had a little bit of rust in there at the back. I got some water in it, and it doesn't drain out this way, the backs. I think that's something good to think about, is if I have to park it for a long time, which I'm always going to have it under roof as soon as I get my new building, but I'll put the left side track lower than the right. Let that drain out. So I'm going to wipe that out with a paper towel. Be right back with you. Okay, so let's put the new inner filter in. Slide that in. And actually here, I've got more space, so I'll do the 2604. Okay, and then this was hard enough to get off there. I'm gonna go ahead and run a tap through here. So hard to get the thread on there. I definitely kind of felt a burr as I went through there. Definitely cut a little bit of thread there. Just had the end messed up, probably hit something at some point. And there we go. Okay, and finger tight's gonna be fine with that. Took a while, but we got it running, and I don't see any leaks. That's what I was doing here, kind of looking to make sure that, remember we moved that, I don't see any leaks there, so. in pretty good shape. The oil pressure came up, so I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and check the oil in it. The new oil filter looks good. I don't see anything leaking over here. This side actually looks really good and dry. Okay, our oil pressure is good. So let's go ahead and shut this off. And we'll check the oil. It gets oil a lot, so we'll get that done too. But right now, looks to me like it's right. Yep, it's right to the bottom of those hash marks. So I bet it needs about another quart. But I'll let it stand for a bit and check it when it's cold. Okay, so here is the hydraulic filter, and that's the transmission filter. And on these cases, that's the same fluid. And after looking at it, it's also the same filter. So I'll hit Napa in the morning and see what we can do. Okay, I'm back with the last two filters for this service. And these are the transmission and hydraulic filters. And I ran down to the Case dealership to pick these up. I went by Napa, and they had a filter that they said would work, but they didn't have two of them, and I needed two of them. They're exactly the same filter. The other thing is Napa wasn't able to find out if they were the same or not. So I called the Case dealer. They said, yes, they're the same filter, and that they had them in stock, so I ran down and got them. The other thing that was interesting about that was the Napa filters were $110. These filters from Case were only $80. So, you know, it pays to at least check with the manufacturers, I guess, to see what they've got. The other thing, the guy at the counter told me that the Napa filters tend to overheat the hydraulics when you use them. He said he didn't know why, but he said he's had so many people come in that have overheating hydraulics, and they look, it's a Napa filter, they change out to the other filter, and it solves the problem. So that's always good. Anyway, let's get these changed. And it actually changes easy. Ooh. We're going to lose a lot of fluid. Okay, so there's that filter. Oh yeah, look at that. Thank goodness that came loose. Buried back in there like that, it's going to be tough. Okay, so let's take this down. We'll run some fresh oil around the O-ring. Go. I like you spin on filters. So there is another transmission filter, and it's a suction screen filter, and my book says to just clean that out, but I'm not having any trouble with my hydraulics or my transmission. So for now, I'm just going to change these out. This was a whole lot easier to put on. You can reach it a lot better. Okay, and 2604 520. I wrote 20. Okay, so our filters are the same filter, and it's CNHI Industrial, and the part number is 842-39751. And these are available through the Case equipment dealer for about 80 bucks. Okay, now I'm going to check the transmission oil, and this is where you fill it as well. That actually is still right up to the full line. So I'll just keep an eye on that as I run it. I know the hydraulic fluid is low, which you fill in the back. Also, there's probably no oil in that transmission filter yet. So after I start it, I'll check it again, and it may be just a touch low. Okay, and the last thing that I'm going to do today is, this is the fill hole for the final drive, and the drain hole is down here at the bottom. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check, make sure that there's gear oil in this final drive. And that's actually a little bit, I mean, to me, that's dry. So I'm gonna, yeah, I can reach in there and reach down. I don't feel anything. So I'm gonna top that off with gear oil. It's taking a lot more than I am comfortable with. That means I was running it with very little oil in it. Okay, and it's finally coming out. So we've got it full now. So put that plug back in. All right, let's check the other side. Okay, see if we can get that out. Okay, and there's oil pretty much right at the top of that one. But I think I'll throw just a hair more in for good measure. That's going to run out right there. So put the cap back on, and then I'll keep an eye on that left final and see, make sure it's not leaking. But that was about, it was over a quart that I put in it, so glad I checked it. All right, finals are checked and done. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people ask, this is the oil that I use in both the transmission and the hydraulics in that Case 450 Bulldozer. Alrighty, well, that's going to do it for our Case 450C service video. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. It definitely helps the channel. And if you like this old equipment and like seeing it worked on, we definitely invite you to subscribe to see more. So I love this old equipment and I love working on it. So it's kind of a hobby, but at the same point, we can get a lot done with this. The next videos that will be coming up, I've got a lift cylinder here on the right side that's leaking. So we'll rebuild that cylinder. And if we come around here to the brakes, both these brakes were working when I bought it, but now the right side doesn't. That pedal will go all the way to the floor. So we'll definitely work on that, and that'll be a separate video. Once again, appreciate you watching. Have a great day and be safe.